Good morning.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome, everybody. We are doing something fun today, something a little bit fun and different. First off, my name is Brenda Neckbottle. I'm known as Brenda, the HR lady. And to this side, you can't see us because we're also recording this for YouTube as well. But you guys are not
You're pointing the wrong way.
Right. The sound on Clubhouse is not going to be captured. So this is Suzanne Lucas. She's known as the evil HR lady. She's absolutely awesome. And good morning, ma'am, all the way from
Good morning.
There you are. All right. So we're doing something a little different. So we initially started the Real HR show on YouTube and it's grown. And then Clubhouse popped in and we thought, you know what? Clubhouse is just like popping. So let's try this, and we flipped it over to Clubhouse. Well, the feedback we got was, well, how the heck are people with Android phones not going to be able to listen to what's going on in Clubhouse? And we thought, good point. So what we're doing is we're doing a twofold thing. So we're kind of reformatting just a little bit. So we are recording this on Zoom for Suzanne and I to turn around and push this out to our YouTube channel. So if you can't catch the whole thing, for those of you who are in Clubhouse, you can go ahead and catch the replay over there. However, we are not capturing the comments on Clubhouse. that's exclusive to you guys, right? So we're moving through. We're moving through some changes here, and it's going to be great because we got an awesome topic. Suzanne, would you like to go ahead and introduce yourself just a little bit, even though I gave you a quick, fast intro?
Yeah, I'm Suzanne Lucas. I'm better known as the evil HR lady. And yeah, that's me.
A woman of many words. All right. So my name again is Brenda, the HR lady. You can follow us. You can find Suzanne over at her website, which looks spectacular.
Yes, it was just redone this week.
Yes. And that, I apologize, is Nakoa going off in the background with his big boy voice. You can find her over at evilhrlady.org. And you can find me at brendathehrlady.com. You can also follow us here on Clubhouse. You can follow us on YouTube. You can follow us on Instagram for brendathehrlady.com or Brenda the HR Lady. You can find Suzanne over at Twitter as Evil HR Lady. I think I covered it, right?
We're all there. We're everywhere.
We're all there. We're everywhere. So, so this is how it's going to work. We're going to go through, do our first spiel, right? And then we're going to bring you guys up on stage once we get done. So we'll just start bringing people up on deck at the bottom half of the hour. And this is an awesome conversation because we've been kind of chatting about this on and off as we've been going through COVID. And I'm going to let Suzanne kick it off. But really the subject we're talking about today is, when you return to work, is your culture going to be the same? And I think that's an excellent question.
Well, and the question before that, are you returning to the office? A lot of white collar workers have been working from home for the past year, and some companies are anxious to get back into the office. Some people are anxious to get back into the office, and some companies are not. They're not going back. They've gotten rid of their offices, actually. And the thing is this is a year where everyone on the planet is changed. We all experience this joint horrible nastiness. We're all changed. And so to think you can just go back to normal, to what it was, in January of 2020, I don't think it's possible. And I think it's actually detrimental to think that you can. That you need to approach this with some new ideas and some new ways of communication. And even if you're saying, okay, look, we've been remote for the last year, we're going to continue to be remote. If you're just going based on the haphazard way you started last March, it's not sustainable. You need to implement new systems, new policies, and really strive to create a new culture that fits a remote workforce.
I think there's a lot of people out there, leaders, employees, mid-level managers. I think a lot of people out there are, look, we're Americans, right? We don't like to be uncomfortable. We really don't. We don't like it when our wonderful things that we have in life, the things that we really enjoy are not accessible to us. And we're okay for a little while, but in the long haul, we really do like life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And so, this is just change. And, a lot of people live in the past, right? They go back and they remember God, man, you remember the day when right? Everybody lives in that for the most part, right? Two people that are hard chargers and moving forward don't live in the past. They can't, because the past will weigh them down. They look ahead. So with that being said, the majority of your workforce is probably likely going to turn their head and look backwards. Okay. They're going to look back to, man, I really loved it when life was this way, and I really liked it that way. And you know what, to be honest with you, from an interpersonal standpoint and from an emotional intelligence standpoint, there's a little bit of a divorce that takes place from, during change, when people look as, God, man, they remember what things were like in the past, and they really love that, and they have that attachment to it, like they hold it kind of close, versus where they are right now, because change is uncomfortable. Let's face it. And 2020 has dropped so many change bombs on top of us. It wasn't even funny. I remember when I was with ADP. ADP, when I worked there at that company, came in as a human resource business partner, and then I got promoted in a year and a half to a senior, actually under a year and a half, to a senior human resource business partner, and I did that role for many years after that. And I loved that job. It was my favorite job I've ever had, all-time favorite job. It had every element to it, and I loved it. Like, I was traveling, I was meeting new people, I was growing and learning. I mean, this is where I spent 7 years really learning about, or the first 5 of 7 years really learning about government contracting and what HR compliance was all about. I learned the HR compliance side of it first before I actually understood government contracting, right, as a whole. And I loved it. I had awesome experiences. I was flying, right? I was traveling and driving and staying in hotels and eating nice places. And, I was a top performer, and I got a barking dog in the background, and that's okay. But it was awesome. I absolutely, absolutely loved it. When I left that job because I was always starting at the beginning again, and my knowledge base was growing, right? I was always going back to helping a customer or a new client who never had, sorry about the barking dog guy. I missed him before he went downstairs, and I couldn't grab him before the show. Um, I always was going back to starting with a customer from the beginning. Like, do you have your handbook? How many job descriptions do you have? Like, what are your organizational goals and objectives? And I kind of felt myself in a position where I was like always repeating, to the point where I felt like I was always stuck at the beginning again, right? And I have all of this experience and this knowledge that's growing, and it wasn't working for me. So I left and took an advanced position as an HR director with a company, went into the seat rather than teaching it, and I mourned the loss of that job for years. I mourned everything that I loved about it, even though I had this awesome new experience. So, it impacted me as an employee. If it impacts me as an employee just doing that in the natural course of life, imagine what that's going to be like when it's impacting people as they return to work and life isn't what they once knew it to be.
Yeah, and life is not what we once knew it to be, and that's something that it's really important for HR to acknowledge. And HR in general, this past year, we have been stressed out because we're the people that everybody is leaning on and asking for help, and that we are trying to help them. That's in our nature, it's in our job description, is we help people be the best they can be, we help businesses be the best that they can be. And we're stressed out too, and now we've got to start making these decisions of how will we go forward, how will we have this return to work, return to the office, or how will we say from now on, this company is remote? Or do we say from now on, everybody who has been vaccinated gets to work in the office and everybody who hasn't needs to be remote? Or do we say, now you can choose whether you work remotely or in the office? And these are the types of policies and problems that need to have a culture of change. And one thing that you need to think about, let's say you decide your company, you get to choose. We don't care, in the office, working remotely, whatever, you choose whatever makes you happiest. Okay, that's a great policy. But if your senior executive team is in the office 5 days a week and they are seeing the people that come into the office, and those people are the ones that are getting the good assignments and the promotions, then what you've really done is not have this, workforce that is split however, whatever makes you happiest. You're saying our A players come into the office. Yep. If you want to be on the B team, you can, but you're going to work from home. And that's not a message you want to send out. If you're saying to people, you can choose, you need to make sure that choice doesn't destroy their careers and that doesn't limit them. One thing you need to do if you want to have that hybrid kind of workforce is make sure that your senior executives are not all in the office, that they need to work from home from time to time or be fully remote. You need to make sure that managers aren't rewarding the people that come to the office while they're not rewarding the people at home. You still have to be very cognizant of performance and end product. And that takes a strong HR to say, to the CEO, look, if you want to go hybrid, that's fantastic, but you're going to have to work from home from time to time. And your senior vice president's going to have to work from home from time to time to do it. Or vice versa, if you have all of them at home and the people that are coming to the office are the ones that are looked down on, that doesn't go either. You really need to work to make a policy and a culture where it's truly okay to choose. And from a personal standpoint, I've worked at home since 2003, off and on, but I've been exclusively from home for the last 12 years. My favorite is a hybrid model where I'm in the office a couple days a week and at home a couple days a week. That's my favorite model because you get to all the interaction with people, but you get the no commute. You're there when the UPS guy comes, you're there at the refrigerator in case you start to accidentally lose weight after all the weight we gained in COVID. That's a big problem in my life. Those are the types of things that HR really needs to get into and do this culture thing of, if this is how we're going to live, if this is how our company is going to work, what does our culture look like and how do we enforce that?
Yep. The very first thing that companies have to do, and you hit it without actually saying it, is that you have to define your returning work environment. In order to become return ready, you have to really define what your environment is going to look like. And here's the thing. My number one live and die rule, and Suzanne's heard me say this 1,000 times, and you can hear it 1,001 now, is in the absence of information, people make stuff up. So if you're not clear on what your culture is about or what your culture is like or the direction that you want to bring your culture into, you're going to struggle. And people are going to start creating a story because humans, we don't like ambiguity. We really don't, right? Think of the last time where you were uncertain about something and what did you do, right? You created a story so that way you had something to match the void, right? We don't like those voids in our reason and stories and whatnot. And so we have to justify it and create it. That's just who we are as people. That's what people do. Everybody does it, right? And as much as I say that phrase, I still do it. And I have to, as soon as I hear it, I have to, okay, Brenda, stop doing that, right? Kind of a thing. But that's the thing, is that people are going to start creating things. And if all of a sudden the executive team, my job at ADP was a hybrid. Monday and Friday, I was in the office. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, I was traveling around. And it was great because I got a healthy balance of both environments. And that works really well for me. Right. Nowadays, everything I do is here. And this works well for me now. Right. So if your executive leadership team isn't clear about the duration of where your work environment is going to go. If they want to create a hybrid for a period of time and say, hey, listen, this is going to work for us now, we're going to reevaluate this in X period of time, then that should be part of the message, right? That right now we're anticipating this being a permanent thing, but you know what? Life changes again. Life is constantly changing. And we'll reevaluate it when we start to see that this doesn't work for us anymore. When we start to see that our employees are no longer interconnected with each other, which could be a big part of your culture. Kind of depends on what your company is built like, right? Some cultures are a little bit harder than others. Some cultures are a little bit more interconnected with each other. Every company has a unique culture. And we as HR people also, by the way, fall into the culture trap, meaning that we have an impression because of all of this influence that we get in our reading and this shows like this, right? Information and lessons that we learned that, you should have an engaged workforce and here's how you do it and blah, blah, blah. But you know what? The leadership is the one that actually takes culture on and is the leadership team is the one that nurtures and does it. HR can't change culture on its own. It can't do it. And if you don't have that backing on it, you need to take that step back and figure out, okay, so what can I nurture that's in place that the company wants? Not what I think it should be. And I hear that all the time. Okay. So I was going somewhere with this and yeah, I can't remember, but that's okay because those were some really good nugget bombs that I dropped right there. So we'll just roll with
Well,
that.
and where you were going with this,
Oh,
I
yeah.
think, on the culture side
I
of
remember.
things, you remember? Okay, go ahead.
I remember. So, anyway, so your company has to define what the office environment is going to look like. I said it needs to be part of the messaging. And you know what? If it changes because business changes, people change, group dynamics change, right? A company isn't the same forever. It can't be. It cannot exist if it is the same forever. So just prepare for that.
Yeah, it can't exist forever. And you shouldn't worry like, well, if we do this today, what is it going to be in 2025? I don't know. I mean, did any of us know where we were going to be in 2015? None of us had any idea where we'd be 5 years later. We had no clue. And we were all wrong. But this is something that you really need to do. And while Brenda's 100% correct, HR can't change culture on its own. If you as an HR person aren't keeping your eye on culture, there's a good chance that nobody is.
Right.
And people are just going to wing it. And you'll have managers making individual decisions, but because they don't know what the rule is, they're not talking to their bosses. And then you end up with this mishmash of horribleness. I'm not saying that managers shouldn't make decisions that are right for their departments. And you may have a company where, look, the entire finance department is remote, but the entire marketing team is on site. And that's okay. That's fine if that's what works for your business. And if you're one of those people that are like, I cannot wait to get back to the office, that's okay. Everybody talks about the wonderfulness of remote work. It stinks for some people.
Mm-hmm.
Some people don't like working alone. Some people don't have a lot of space at home. Like I always say, the remote work model assumes that you have a 4-bedroom house in the suburbs with no more than 2 people living in it. And I don't know about you all, I live in an apartment in the city. My office is my bedroom. I don't have a spare room. And and that's a difficult thing, you know, for some businesses to realize as well. It's not that, and some people really like the interaction. Those things are okay, and it's okay for a company to say, look, we're going to be all in the office, or we're going to be all remote, or we're going to be a hybrid, or each department's going to do what each department needs to do. You're not a bad person to say, this is what I want for my company, and this is the culture we're going to foster. Just be honest about it. There's been a lot of complaining this year about job postings that have been posted saying, you know, this is a remote position, and then the person gets the job, and then they spring on them, oh, by the way, this is just remote until the CDC clears everybody to go back to work. And the person's like, wait, I wouldn't have taken this job, I wouldn't have left my other job.
Right.
Just be honest, and then you'll attract the type of people that want that lifestyle.
Yep, exactly. And you know, right now there are a lot of companies out there that are really struggling to find talent, and part of it is that it, you know, the marketplace is flooded with resumes and applications, because we do know that yes, there's still a lot of people that are on unemployment right now. The nation has dropped down to 6% unemployment, and in order to get unemployment, you have to actively be looking for a job. So it's hard to find people because the market's flooded. We saw it in 2018, or excuse me, 2011, 2012, when we were bouncing back from the Great Recession. Same thing is happening over there. And so, you know, it's exhausting. I put in, I remember, God, man, 2012, I put in, I was helping one of my clients actually recruit for a receptionist position in DC. And I kid you not, in under just a couple of hours, we had over 300 applicants for that position. 5 of them were PhDs. I'm like,
Dude.
yeah, you're slightly overqualified here. But it took forever for me to just go through a couple of hours of worth of posting to find those that were qualified. And then it took another couple of days just to even get a response back from some of those people. So that's the kind of environment that we're dealing with right now. And so, you know, I totally get what you're saying about companies, you know, saying, hey, listen, you know, this is what it is right now, but you also have to give people that choice. You have to, if you want good quality people working for your organization, you have to be upfront about everything, you know, and let them be the ones to make the decision.
Yeah, and that is one of the qualities of a highly functional culture, is honesty.
Right.
And as Brenda says, people make stuff up when they don't know what's going on. And so if you're keeping things too close to the vest, um, people, you don't get those good matches with your hires, and your employees feel uncomfortable. They always are on the edge because they don't know what's going to happen. And the whole world has been on the edge for the past, I don't know, 15 months. And one more thing on the edge is just not what any of us need. So just be honest and make that a part of your company culture. And that's sometimes that you'll have to really push back on your senior leadership team to be like, let's tell people, let's say to people, we haven't decided yet whether we're coming back or whether we're hybrid or not. So if you haven't decided, say that you haven't decided, or ask for input from your employees. Let them give you input if you haven't made a decision.
Yep.
And if you have made a decision, then work on it. If you're decided to go remote or to go hybrid, how are you going to work on your communication? I just wrote an article about remote work, and I tweeted it just right before we went live, and I got this great response from, let's read it quickly. Where is it? Sorry. He said, been doing remote off and on since the big 1990s. Biggest pitfall, in my humble opinion, has been lack of communication. Second biggest has probably been over communication. And I thought that was great. That, I mean, terrible for him, but you need to find that balance of communication. You know, if you're not having enough, your employees don't know what's going on. Everybody's kind of out there in the nether. And on the other hand, you have other companies that are doing remote that are like, all right, every day at 9 to 10, we're having a Zoom meeting. And then we're going to check back in from 11 to 1. And if I send you an instant message, you need to respond within 30 seconds, or I think that you're off watching Netflix or something. Like, we can't watch Netflix while we have our instant messages. I mean, really. Not that I would ever do that. I'm self-employed. I can do what I want.
Yeah, get a load of this. Get a load of this. I saw a post yesterday on Facebook, and there is a company, it was a call center, that apparently, and it was really funny because I posted on there, my response was, "Are you trying to make me fall backwards?" Right? And what it was is that this apparently this call-in center actually has their employees hooked up, I kid you not, to heart monitors, and the heart monitors actually regulate the pace at which somebody is speaking at, so they can tell if they're actually working or not.
I'm sorry.
I know.
Well, I then get the award for, like the most productive employee because I can't shut up and I talk really fast.
Yes,
And frequently people have to tell me to slow down. And when I teach in German, I talk just as fast, but my German is terrible. So my students are like, "Hey, Suzanne, slow it down. Your accent is horrible. And what was that word you just used? That's not a real word."
That's
So
funny.
I'm gonna, they did heart
They use
monitors.
heart monitors.
Can
Yeah.
you send me a copy of that? Because I need to be horrified appropriately, or share it. Or
I
if you
can't
could
share it. It's in a closed group.
But the article itself, you can.
It's not an article. It was
Post.
actually my friend who witnessed it, and the owner of the company was like, "Yeah, no, man, we're serious. We have them hooked up to heart monitors." And I have heard about, there's a device that I don't know what the company is, but there's a device that you can track the motion of a mouse and to determine whether or not somebody's working, because a mouse is something that you're going to use all the time, right? And I actually knew a guy who decided to go ahead. His girlfriend at the time rigged one of those toy wind-up cars. So she went out to lunch just because she wanted to take a break. She was a salaried employee, strapped it to this mouse somehow, put it in a box, and this thing was like going all over the place for a while. It's crazy, right? It's like, and that also goes to show you, it's like, listen, if you're working in that kind, if you're trying to lead that kind of environment, people are going to figure out how to beat it because it's a poopy environment, right? I just thought that was, yeah, heart monitors. And that was my response. I'm like, "Are you trying to make me fall over?"
Yeah. So my official professional opinion is don't do that. Even though, as I said, I would be
Mutually
really
shared.
Then oh God, I mean, that's giving a medical exam too.
I
How is
know.
that ADA compliant? It can't be ADA compliant.
Not a single ounce of it is. That's a diagnosis. That is a heart beating or not. That's a diagnosis.
Well,
Yep.
and how fast your heart beating as well. I mean, some of us are a little bit out of shape.
Yeah, some of us are getting better at getting in shape than others too, by the way. But anyway, we won't go down that road. So listen, for those of you guys who are in YouTube land, look, we want to share. We're going to kind of cut it here, but we're going to share with you guys that we have two groups that you can join. Speaking of groups on Facebook, we both, Suzanne and I, have groups that you can go ahead and join. Suzanne, would you like to tell them about your group?
Absolutely. You can come over to Evil HR Lady at Facebook, and it is a group. We have 7,000 members now, mostly HR people. You don't have to be in HR to be in there, but you do need to care about HR issues, and you do have to answer our questions to get in with a good answer. And we talk about all things HR, and we have the best HR memes. So.
Yes, they do. I wish I could steal them and use them over my group, but Suzanne's part of my group and I can't get away with it. So
you can steal them and use them in my group, in your group, all you want.
Oh, that's not right. So
you
my
can.
group,
I give you permission.
Okay.
All of you can share anything that you find in my group because it's an open group.
There you go. Well, I have a closed group, which is called the Next Gen Women in HR. And we are not as old. Suzanne's been running her group. How long have you been running your group now?
I don't know.
It's for
3
7,000
years.
people. It's been a long time.
Well, yeah,
It is.
it's been a while, and we just gained 1,000 this past week because Allison Green at Ask a Manager tweeted it.
Nice, nice. I'm like, yeah, you kind of grew there because I knew it wasn't that much just a few months ago. But anyway, so we've been around now for just a little over a year, and we don't have quite that many people. We're edging closer towards 400 in our group. And it's pretty awesome. It is a closed group. You do have to also answer 3 questions. You have to be an HR person. And if you don't answer the questions, we're not going to let you in. And it's as simple as that. But we're a closed group, and we really take good care of each other. It's young. It's it's growing. It's got a good vibe, a good culture to it. We would love everybody to be part of it. And also, I am the founder of HR Club over on Clubhouse. And so as of this morning, we are sitting at 7,200 members with 5,200 followers. And those followers just are people that have not noticed that they need to go ahead and accept the invite to actually become members when they asked. So, we've got a number of people that do all sorts of rooms. Actually have Suki in the house. Hey, lady, she did a room earlier this morning on Clubhouse, and everybody is welcome. It is open to go ahead and doing rooms. You don't have to ask for permission. You are more than welcome to do so. And just so long as it lines up with human resources, that's not a problem. Everybody is welcome as a member of the HR Club in Clubhouse to go ahead and hold rooms, because that's how we support one another in this field. So yeah, we're certainly looking forward to it. And I don't know if I should even ask you this question, but I'm going to. I know you have a new little service. Are you ready to share that?
I am ready to share it.
Okay, can I share it?
You can share it.
Okay, good. So Suzanne, I was really excited when she did it. So Suzanne has actually started a resume review service as well. And we're actually going to help pipeline some resume, people who are interested through the, Brenda the HR Lady.com website. But she's got this really cool site. I'm going to let her share more of the details.
Yeah, so if you go to evilhrlady.org, there is a tab for resumes and career coaching. You can click on that and you can pick the package that you want. And I just launched that this week, and it's going great. What I do is I take a look at your resume, and I will give you feedback. This is not a Suzanne writes your resume service. This is you write your resume, I give you feedback, and then you rewrite your resume based on that feedback. So it's going to be super fun. It's just at evilhrlady.org on the resumes tab, and take a look if you are in the market to update your resume.
That's right. So
thank you.
You're welcome. Well, we both have stuff that we like to promote each other for. So
that's right.
We got all sorts of stuff. And if you guys have not yet picked up your copy of the best HR planner on the planet, highly recommend doing so. I know Suzanne's got a copy of it. It's pretty cool. There it is. Yep. It's got several pages, 60 pages to be exact. Next year it will be a little bit bigger. But it's got 60 pages of all sorts of really good stuff, including a list of all of the laws that you have to follow by company size. If you've never written your job resume before, it has information on there and all sorts of good stuff. It also has, ta-da, here it is, a 12-month overview of all the deadlines that are required. And then you also get 12 months of an actual planner where you can use this to help strategize. There's also a lot of other goodies in here as well, and including a secret hidden web page on my website that has a list of all of the resources that we talk about. And one of my favorite parts, every CFO loves this part, it's a year-end checklist that starts in October. So if you'd like to get your copy of it, you can go to brendathehrlady.com and click shop at the top and go ahead and order it, and we'll get it out with a little handwritten thank you note from moi. And it's pretty fun stuff.